just a few days, I learned that the Air Marshall Islands is also nicknamed Air Maybe. The reputation of this airline that I've heard from many locals, taxi drivers, is that the trust factor and the reliability of this airline is down to near zero. I'm not very knowledgeable on the names of planes, but they have two small planes called the Dornier. And they have one Dash 8, which is much more reliable. Very similar and reminiscent to the flights I've taken in Kitty Bass. Except, oddly, their flights are way more reliable than here. It is early December 2018. I've been here for 5 days, and from what I've learned, the Dash 8 is in Australia, being tested for maintenance, leaving the two small planes here. This doesn't come to me as a surprise, as I've read online that the Air Marshall's international flights were suspended for certain reasons like unreliability or safety issues. This brings a lot of concern to just riding domestic. Nauru Airlines and United are the only airlines that fly international within, to and from the Marshall Islands. Other than that, you're left with Air Marshall Islands domestic flights and last resort boats to travel to the outer islands. For my 2 weeks in the Marshall Islands before I head home, I wanted to visit at least one outer island, and they say to visit at least one outer island if you're going to be in the Marshall Islands. Unfortunately, after like 3 days of getting information and research, I decided that the outer islands was just not going to happen, at least with my time and my budget, which is soon to run out. People have told me many things, but ultimately it was up to me to decide if I was going to go to an outer island. I chose Jaluit, for instance. But I think I made my decision not to visit an outer island after visiting Air Marshall Islands head office here in Majuro. Majuro. They sound like Italian. Majuro. Anyways, I went to the girl and I said straight up, look, I only have 2 weeks in the Marshall Islands. You got once a week, you got a flight to Jaluit on Tuesdays. If I come back, what are the chances that I'm gonna get stuck on the island? I keep hearing all these things about flights not showing up or being canceled. And she said that the flight is being tested this week to see if it's fit for travel, which has no guarantee that it's actually gonna make it back to the Marshall Islands while I'm in Jaluit, to make it in time to fly me back to Majuro. Oh man. Which means it may not make it back in time to Majuro for my flight back to Hawaii. And to answer my other question about being stranded, she simply said, don't do it. The agent at Air Marshall Islands straight up said, don't go. I've been stressed the past couple of days trying to decide if I'm going to visit an outer island or not. It's something I've really wanted to do for the past several months, especially being in the Central Pacific, where I have done so in Kitty Bass. I wanted to do the same here, but that's just not going to happen. Maybe with more time and more of a budget, considering I'm at the end of this trip. And that's something other people should be aware of. If they come to the Marshall Islands for a short period of time, don't rely on Air Marshall Islands. So as long as they don't have a Dash 8, don't take the chance. But if you do have the time and you do have the budget, go for it. Be the adventurer that I couldn't be this time around. Like I said, maybe I'll do it next time. Fortunately for me and anybody else who comes here doesn't really exactly have much time and can't do an outer island, there is a neighboring island called Arno, which seems to be beautiful. Definitely worth a visit. After all, a new island, what's wrong with that? That ride had definitely wasn't for the faint-hearted. The boats coming to Arno Island, I would say, is probably almost at the same level as the reliability as Air Marshall Island. Showed up to see if there was a boat going to Arno on Monday. It leaves Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The boat was canceled Monday, so I waited 2 days for the Wednesday boat. Showed up, and that was canceled too. I'll be quite honest, I was almost ready to give up on the Marshall Islands and just go to Micronesia or go back to Honolulu. But fortunately, there was an alternative. The boat that leaves Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, like the backup boat, I decided to use that boat for the Wednesday boat. Unfortunately, I found my way to Arno Island. However, I did show up, and I was like, where's the skipper? And everybody was like, well, the skipper's sleeping. I was like, okay, what time are we leaving? We'll leave when the skipper wakes up. And I'm like, it couldn't get any more Pacific Island than that. But yeah, that just goes to show you that boat or plane, doesn't matter. Don't have any high expectations here in the Marshall Islands. Because unlike the rest of the Pacific, unreliability takes a whole new meaning here. But no matter the difficulty, I still made it to my next island.